my initial thought was, no, I don't want to go. I don't like being cold. The only thing I dislike more than being cold is being wet and cold. It's, and then I just thought the people that are in that room, the idea of showing up when I don't want to, the idea of being loud or being visible when it's not comfortable is something that I need to do. Do you have a brilliant product idea but don't know where to start to get it made? Or are you looking to level up your product but afraid to take it overseas?
If so, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Jackie.
And I'm Erin, and we are
The Sourcing Gals,
your trusted guides to everything you need to know about sourcing, manufacturing, and scaling your product overseas. Whether you are just starting out or you've been making your own product for a while, we are here to help women source products overseas without the overwhelm.
In each episode, we'll share insider tips, actionable strategies, and inspiring stories to help you source more effectively, save time, and boost your profits.
Duh!
We know how hard it can be to juggle the ins and outs of product development, but don't worry, we've got your back.
So grab a cup of coffee, get comfy, and let's dive into how you can grow your business,
make more money,
and turn your products into profit. Welcome to
The Sourcing Gals. Now let's get started. High five.
Hi. Running a product-based business is complicated enough. Your banking shouldn't be. That's why we use Mercury. It's a free, intuitive banking platform built for entrepreneurs. No monthly fees, and get this, no wire fees ever. Plus, it integrates with QuickBooks, making bookkeeping a breeze. And the best part? Their credit card gives you 1.5% cash back with a holiday bonus of 2.5% cash back on ad spend. Terms do apply. Banking doesn't have to be complicated. Join me and thousands of other founders using Mercury. Learn more and sign up today using the link in the show notes.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of
The
Sourcing Gals. Okay, we have a big day tomorrow.
Yes,
Like
we do.
a pretty big day for us. So let's talk a little bit about what's happening tomorrow, and then it's going to segue into today's podcast.
Of course, we're speaking tomorrow on a stage at an event in Columbus for the Columbus Chamber of Commerce.
Specifically for women in logistics and supply chain.
Right.
So definitely, I don't want to say retail adjacent. It is retail.
Yes.
But it's a little bit different than what we do in regards to product development. However, every product that we bring in works through a logistics process.
It's got to get there somewhere.
And it's got to get to the store. So it is all connected. So it was really exciting. We had a woman reach out to us quite a few months ago and just kind of out of nowhere say, I'm a super fan of your podcast and I'm chair of this event and would love for you ladies to come and speak. And we're kind of like, what? Really?
Right.
Cool. Like, very cool. So we met with her. She's fantastic. And we've since had a couple follow-up meetings, not only with the members of the chamber that are leading this event, but also the other speakers, keynote speakers. I mean, big name people that are, leading supply chain for Wendy's and like just really,
Patrick Ta,
yes,
cosmetics brand.
Yes. So I'm also excited, not just for the opportunity to, share some things with the audience and these women, but also just the networking and getting to know these women better.
Putting ourselves in a different room than what we would typically be in and what we would typically, this wouldn't have been on our radar per se. And so someone reaching out, putting it on our radar and inviting us to speak opened our vision to a different segment of retail and commerce.
Yeah, and that's literally what we're going to be talking about today. So our presentation tomorrow has Canvas slides and all the pretty decks as well, but we think the content itself, what we're talking about, is really relevant. So we wanted to bring that to the podcast so that you guys are all getting to hear kind of what we're going to present tomorrow, but, conversationally here between Erin and myself.
Right. It's something that Jackie and I talk about often. And I think on the podcast, we've made reference to this idea, this theory, and we want to just drill down into the importance of getting yourself in the right room. So we will start with the question of, for you guys listening, if you are driving, if you are listening while you're cleaning or putting your dishes away, which is what I do, you raise your hand wherever you are. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately been like, I don't belong here?
I'm raising my hand.
Me too.
Like, hi.
Okay, I wasn't,
Two
but
hands.
I'm doing it high now. Yes, and often, and part of it is confidence,
Imposter syndrome.
imposter syndrome, um, not thinking literally like this is a good example, not thinking we belong there because maybe our niche is different,
Yep.
and we're gonna blow all that out of the water.
Yeah. So, we're going to talk today about the 3 rooms that we believe can change your trajectory. And this is not just business. This is life, this is future. So, when we think and we talk through these examples, a lot of these we had to take and put more of a corporate spin on them because the audience that we're talking to are mostly not product-based founders.
Right.
They're more corporate working, women that are in this different structure than what we do ourselves. So a little bit of these are taken down to that route, but this can literally apply to all different parts of your life as well. And I think that's important to keep that filter as we go through these. This is not just talking about business or work or the job you're in. This can
Yeah.
literally apply to so many other aspects of your life.
It's not just manufacturing, it's not just product development or design or e-commerce or supply chain. It is a life lesson.
So we're going to talk about the 3 rooms here and start at the top. I'm going to first outline the 3 different rooms that we want to dive into. So one is the learning room, one is the collaboration room, and then one is the courage room.
Do I have a story when we get to courage room?
I have a story too. So, okay, let's start with the learning room. So, this is the room where you are not the smartest person there, and that's okay.
That's kind of the point of you
It's
being
kind
there.
of the point of you being there. So, sometimes this might feel like, again, intimidating. Maybe I like to use the phrase a fish out of water. That imposter syndrome might come up a little bit here. This fear, maybe this investment fear, right? Because a learning room is a lot of different things, but sometimes it can be education, like true education.
Right. And that's I think the point of the learning room is you don't have to walk into a learning room ready to be the expert, ready to educate, ready to be on a soapbox or take a stand of any sort. Like you are there for a reason, and that reason is to probably listen more than speak.
Correct. Which might be a change if you're someone who's used to being in the leadership position, right? So,
and that may be what brings on that intimidation or that feeling of lack or that feeling of, lack of self-confidence is that you walk into these rooms and you think, well, I couldn't lead this. Well, you're not supposed to lead that.
yes. So let's give a couple examples. So what we did for our presentation, again, was taking it a little bit more to that corporate spin, but this could be an industry event or a conference where you have some pretty major keynote speakers, right? They're telling you data, they're giving you information, they're giving you leadership opportunities. Like this is a time where you are sitting and absorbing someone else's wisdom.
Sure. Like if we went to an event right now, it would actually appeal to me to go to an event where I could learn more about third-party logistics, or we talk about EDI a lot, or the technical side of logistics that is not my wheelhouse, but I should know a bit about it in the industry I'm in, especially with us owning our own business and guiding folks. That's an area where I would go into a room and know that I'm there to learn.
Correct. Another opportunity or another learning room could be virtual courses, which we
love courses.
We love courses. We have our own courses that we obviously have created and sell, but we love taking courses. I think it is such a brilliant way to continue your education outside of your traditional classroom setting, right? Masterclass, or again, these ads that you probably get served on social media, but that ideally relate to something in your periphery, right? And it is such a great way to level up your learning, usually in a fairly quick and somewhat cost-effective manner.
Sure. And let's take it to a level that's not career-based necessarily. I took a course back in the day on baby sleep because my first was an amazing sleeper and my second was not. Still isn't. Still gets in bed with me every night. And I took a course about just what to do about that, how to manage. And that was an area where I didn't know very much. I knew what I did, but I was there to learn. And so even in real life, even not in a corporate environment, putting yourself in a situation where you open up your mind to a new thought or a new theory is always helpful.
Another one that I've talked about before, and again, I think this is his own podcast down the road, is coaching. Like this would be a very big, we're calling it a learning room, but really these are experiences, right? These are opportunities we're talking about here. These are investments we're talking about. So I remember 2 years ago, I made a pretty sizable investment in a business coach. And it wasn't just the coach, it actually came with a collaboration room attached to it because it was a cohort of other women. So I was learning one on one from my coach. Right. I was also learning from my cohort because these women were at all different phases of life, business, and I'm in a room with women that actually were not in my industry, by the way. This was the first cohort that I feel like I joined where the industry was so wide ranging, but it was so incredibly helpful. We had a lawyer in our group, and man, she was giving me some stellar advice and information. We had someone from a marketing department who was really great at operations, right, and how to structure things. So the point was, I had made, again, a sizable investment into this further education of myself. And this was not just for business. This was whole life coach, truly. And I think we spent,
But you also did the business coaching.
yes. And then last year, I kind of pivoted to true business coaching. Now, I say business, it still is very holistic approach, strategic coaches, but I am someone that really loves to keep investing in myself and improving myself. And so for me, the cost to do that and the ROI on the back end, like well worth it.
Something that I think is so interesting about the learning room, if we're going to call it that, is that earlier on in my career, I would have seen this as somewhat of a weakness. I would have seen
Mm.
this as admitting where I didn't know when I was trying to just like fake it till I made it, kind of. And you might be in that role. You might be in a position career wise where maybe you don't have the ability to raise your hand and say, hey, tell me more about that. I want to learn without looking like you're not up for something. But you can take that into your personal life. You can take it behind the curtain and you can educate yourself. You can get into, like Jackie said, maybe your own type of coaching. You can invest in yourself, and that will only strengthen your role when you do get back into that corporate room.
And one of our books that we read, I believe it's The Millionaire Mind, talks about like a percent of your income should be going towards continued education.
Yes.
Should be going towards self improvement, again, coaching, education, however that looks, whatever you need at that point. And again, that can change. That can change every quarter. That can change every year. The type of investment that you need to make, again, whether that's spiritual, emotional, business, all the things.
Mindset. Who
Yep.
knows?
So I just think that the learning room sometimes might be undervalued to some people because a lot of times it does take actually a capital investment. Not always, but typically these may involve a little bit more of actually putting some money down to learn something to get outside of your own capacity that you have and where you're sitting. But again, I think going in with the right mindset and really expanding it, like that ROI can just be ginormous.
And I'm so thankful that earlier in my career, my companies invested in me traveling to learn more about my industry. Because in manufacturing, I am in an industry, we are in an industry where if you don't go to the factory and see how it's made, you don't actually really understand, I think, until you're there.
So good.
And that's part of what we do as coaches is help bridge that gap for people who don't know. Of course, I'm not saying everyone should get on a flight and go to China or go to India, but that I had the opportunity for someone to send me and be like, learn everything you can, be a sponge, like literally don't say words, be sponge, go. And how impactful that was earlier on in my career.
Yeah, I love that. I think that is a huge education. And again, that company invested money to send you.
They did.
A trip to China is not cheap. However, we both know the value, the magic that happens when you are in a factory with your vendor, the amount of work you can get done, the amount of like junk that you can just cut through and get to the end resolve. And then the relationships you build
Right.
with those partners are going to and save you money on the back end.
Yeah.
Again, that tenfold, right? So I agree. I've worked for companies that believe in that. I mean, Abercrombie was a huge proponent of
Yeah.
it. They really wanted you creating relationships. They wanted you
On a plane.
on a plane. I mean, you were really on a plane. A lot more than you were probably here in the States. But I do think I've worked for companies where, again, that wasn't valued as much. And it was hard. I feel like the few trips I got to take were reminded me like, oh man, this is why we do this. Like, this
Right.
is why the investment is made. This is the
Right.
upside
Right.
of
Educating ourselves.
that.
If you're building a product based business and finding yourself second guessing decisions or wishing you had someone to gut check, we want you to know you don't have to do this alone.
On January 1st, we're opening the Sourcing Gals Founders Circle, our private community for product-based founders.
Inside, you'll get monthly Q&A calls with us, access to our templates, scripts, and tools, and most importantly, a community of founders building right alongside you.
It's only $27 a month, or for a limited time, $247 for the year. That's 3 months free. You can find all the details in the show notes. Hope to see you there. Okay, let's go to the next room now. Let's talk about the collaboration room. So this can come in a lot of forms. This could be networking groups. And actually, the group we're talking to tomorrow, right? They are in the collaboration room together. We're going to all be in there together. These are professional associations. These are peer groups. These are knowledge sharing communities. This is where the group wants you to bring your experience to the table.
Right. You're really on pretty equal footing with everybody there, and everybody has something to offer and everybody has something to take.
Yes.
It's really a kind of a mutually beneficial environment.
And I think sometimes people think, literally, they hear the word networking and they go, oh, right? Like energy drain. Like, oh, I have to be on. Oh, this is going to be, I don't know anybody. Maybe you're not an extrovert and you're super intimidated by this idea of walking in a room with nobody that you know, which is a very fair feeling and a very valid feeling.
I think that feeling stems from the idea that a lot of these interactions can feel transactional, and they shouldn't be. And so just like take that little piece out of your brain, set it aside, and go there with the mindset of meeting folks, introducing yourselves, and that's it.
Yeah.
Things will circle back around. When you meet someone and you shake their hand and you give them your elevator pitch of maybe what you do, they don't have to be like, great, nice to meet you. I have an order I could send your way. Great, thanks. Okay, bye. Like that's what like kind of is below the surface, I think, in a lot of people's minds, but it just doesn't have to be that.
Yeah.
Collaboration doesn't really mean I'm going here to take something.
Exactly. And I think there is a special thing, I'm just going to say it, with women in networking and women in these groups where you genuinely build deeper connections pretty darn quickly through shared experiences. And then people genuinely want to help you. Right? It doesn't feel like the sales pitch. It's like, there's a lot we do. I mean, how many groups are we in now that says like a give get or like, what's your need? What can you offer? Right? Like I think it's ingrained a lot more in the way that women approach community is like, yes, I have a need and that's okay to ask for it, but I also have things I can give. Like, what do you need from me?
Absolutely. And with that kind of connection that gets built over time, it's going to live in your mind, especially if you have a positive interaction with another human and it feels human, it feels personal.
Yeah.
You're going to remember that. Like just yesterday, my husband, Matt, was like, you know what? I really wish I knew someone who could help my company plan travel. And I was like, do I have the person for
we
you?
have the perfect person.
Because I just happened to be in a collaboration room with this woman who was so fun and spunky and just like the kind of person you want to spend time with. Now, when she was talking to me, us as a 2-person company, I'm like, I don't have the money for corporate travel.
Yeah.
But she stayed with me.
Yeah.
And so I could pass her along.
100%. And you want to pass her along, right? Like,
I do.
Like there is such joy. It's like giving a gift, right? Like when I love giving gifts because, obviously you're making the other
gift giver.
Make the other person happy, but it makes me feel good when I'm like seeing someone smile from like thought that I put into something. I mean, you are a great gift. You hand make your gifts. Like, please, you take it to a whole other level of gift giving.
We showed up at an offsite last week and you show up with a wrapped gifts for me.
Well, that was just because I saw it and I couldn't pass it up. It was really good.
With a handwritten note on the inside. It was a book.
It was a book. It was, we love books. Fitting. We love books. But I do think that, if you are someone that gets a little skittish about these, this might sound really rudimentary, but like go into ChatGPT and literally say, hey, I'm coming up to a networking event. I'm feeling a little skittish about like, breaking the ice. Is there anything other than, hey, what do you do for a living? And just like let it kind of calm you down. Like I use it as my therapist quite a lot actually, and it's really beneficial. So even just brainstorming some ways to help you feel better about going in as your authentic self, not feeling salesy, not feeling kind of cringy, right? Like just working through some of those feelings maybe before
Right.
you actually step in the room could be helpful. And I truly believe that it only takes one.
Right.
That's like my thing. Like it only takes one connection to change your life, change your business, change your outlook, solve a major problem that you're facing. So if you go to this event and you just find one great connect, like nurture it.
Right.
Right. And I think the hardest part for me is coming out of these events. I'm so energized. It's the follow up.
Mhm.
You're really good at that. Like you really have made huge bonds and connections with people coming out of a couple of these different rooms that we've been in. I feel like that's the next layer of the magic is not just that event. It's
Yes.
then what happens outside of that room.
I will give credit to the other people there who are mostly the ones who reach out. But even like an event we went to in December, someone reached back out to me on that. And then we went to lunch a couple times. And I mean, I think we're going to get our daughters together because we feel like they're the same age and they would love each other. Like
That's
it's
so
just gonna,
fun.
it's gonna be a thing. We're gonna
Yeah.
be besties.
Yeah. So again, I think those collaboration rooms, you don't have to walk away with a handful of business cards for it to be productive. Like one authentic, real connection. And it's also that trickle effect, that ripple effect, something might not happen immediately out of it. I mean, I've been spending the last 12 to 18 months of my life going from pop-up event to pop-up event all across the country for my pajama brand. And at first I went thinking, oh, this is going to generate sales. And they weren't. They weren't about that. So now I've reset my frame of mind to say these events are really networking. Sales and exposure are great,
Mhm.
but the real ROI is the connections I've made.
Right.
And by me showing up time and time again, now these big menopause influencers, like they know my name. They come
Yeah.
over, they give me a hug, they'll tag me on social. Their PR person's reaching out saying, hey, let's collab
Yeah.
together.
You're the Calling Pajamas lady.
So I'm just saying that took me showing up again and again and again, and then also nurturing those contacts when I got them,
Mhm.
following up, just being authentically me. Again, not selling anything, just staying relevant to them, right? Like I'm
Right.
here, I'm helping create a product that's supporting your clients, followers, right? And
Right.
so I think it wasn't those first couple shows, I was like, "I don't think I'm gonna do this again." Like, I didn't make my money back. It's like, no, now I can look back and say, "Oh my gosh, this was so much bigger than that."
I want to tell a little story because a long time ago in 2010, I started blogging and it was just like a hobby, but I started going to these blog conferences. I didn't know a soul. Not there were 2,000 people at these things. I flew across the country to go, didn't know a soul. And I remember the very first one I went to, I was standing in line to get my badge by myself. And someone in front of me or behind me kind of noticed maybe that I was like a little nervous. And I was just like, go out of your way to talk to whoever you want. Cause like, who's gonna remember? Like, they're gonna remember kindness. No one's ever gonna remember. I'm like butchering this. Let me think about how it went. Her name was Erin. But she basically said, like, there's no reason not to put yourself out there. Like, what's the downside of that?
Yeah,
You meet someone who you don't drive with, and then so you
correct.
wouldn't have even engaged with them before at all. But the upside is so big.
That's a great point. So what we're saying is get in those collaboration rooms.
Mhm.
If you are not in one currently, go find one. That could be a tennis group. Like my tennis group is a collaboration room. We talk about best vacations that we've been to. I mean, these women help mentor me on my children because guess what? They have children that are now in high school. So I ask them advice about, how did you
Yep.
work through these middle school years and different things. So these collaboration rooms can happen everywhere. It could be your college friend group and chat, to be honest, right? But it's making sure that you're leveraging one another, authentically, like coming with your needs, and then also making sure you're offering to help if someone needs something on the other side of that.
And the last thing for this room, as with all rooms, but I think this one too, is that it gets easier the more you do it.
Oh yeah.
The first one you went to, I went to an event last summer that I was invited randomly by someone I didn't know. I was the only one there who I knew. And I felt so awkward. And then a couple months later, I had to do it again. And then a couple months later, I had to do it again. And now I just show up and I like walk in the room and I'm like, I don't know anyone. It's okay. It gets easier.
Yeah. I love that. That's such a great tip. Okay, the
Last
last one,
room.
and this is a hard one. Hard one is the courage room. So the courage room is often your most uncomfortable. It might be something that you don't really feel like you're ready for.
Mhm.
You might feel a little uncertain about things. And maybe that doesn't feel like there's a perfect solution either.
Maybe not a perfect solution, but you have this feeling that you need to be there. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
how do you think the courage room comes about?
I believe the courage room comes about by your inner knowing finally taking over maybe the rational brain in you,
Mhm.
right? Or what you've been told. I don't want to say your rational brain, but maybe the systems that have been in place, whether it's how you were brought up, whether it's patriarchal systems that have been put in place that say this is how you do it. Um, and I think a lot of times that courage room, when you knock on the door, it's because you finally are feeling something inside, for me at least. I'm feeling something in my gut that is not letting me push it back down.
Mhm.
Like maybe I've been pushing it down for years,
Mhm.
and I will say as I hit my 40s, like shit changed. Like all of a sudden I went to a collaboration room. I went to a women's retreat with one of my best friends from high school, and I was cracked open. And I just looked back at my life of, at that point, 20 years in, of pushing things down, of being the people pleaser, of being wherever someone thought I should be and not where I think I should be. And it's been a very big journey since then. I mean, I have blown a lot of shit up in my life since cracking open, from marriage to relationships to friendships to work. I mean, all across the board. And it's not like I'm now I mean, to some, I might look like a different me, but
Mhm.
it's really the real me
Mhm.
that I've been not having the courage to enter into for a really long time. So that's how my courage room shows up. I think it's this inner knowing that has started to bubble up. And now in my, second act of life, it was just like a first act, second act of life. I don't know what you call your 40s to 50s, but I feel like I'm owning it
Mhm.
and I'm owning that truth
Mhm.
and not letting those fears make me play small.
Mhm.
How about you?
I think it overlaps a lot with what you said, but I showed up in both a personal and a career way early on in my life, never asking for anything.
Mm,
I thought that if I asked, I would an inconvenience. But then I saw people around me who were being the squeaky wheel and they were
mhm,
getting the oil time and again. I would see people who would speak up, who would ask for what they wanted. They would get the promotion. I wouldn't. They would get invited to events. I wouldn't. And people just thought I didn't want to or I didn't need to because I wasn't being loud about it. And I wasn't speaking for what I really wanted because I thought, again, that was annoying.
mhm,
That was inconvenient. It would be better if I was small. And if I was just over here in my little box and I was small and I was agreeable, then they would like me. They would invite me. And that didn't happen.
mhm,
That didn't happen at all. And so I got to a point where I was like, no, I am going to ask for what I want. And even if it's wildly uncomfortable, I'm going to put myself in that position. And for me, one of these things happened just last weekend. So we are growing this business, right? We're growing the sourcing
yep,
gals. In the last month, 6 weeks, it has taken off in a direction that we I mean, we could have seen coming, but we did not expect the furiosity of like
correct.
the trajectory of this like change kind of. And this is always the point. We've talked about this before. This is always the point I get to in career or in life where I just like chicken shit out,
Mm,
where I'm like, it's too real. I'm going to go back to corporate. I'm going to go back to something safe. I'm going to play small again. And I got an email in my inbox on Friday, and it was like, hey, this group of entrepreneurs is doing an ice bath thing on Saturday morning. Do you want to come? And I was like, my initial thought was, no, I don't want to go. I don't like being cold. The only thing I dislike more than being cold is being wet and cold. And then I just thought the people that are in that room, the idea of showing up when I don't want to, the idea of being loud or being visible when it's not comfortable is something that I need to do. It's something that I need to get better at. So I went.
I'm so proud of you for going. And
And
not only did you go, tell them how long you stayed in that ice bath, my friend.
I stayed for like almost 5 minutes.
Yeah, like that's a long time to be in an ice bath, girl.
Yes. And I was very uncomfortable. The woman who was leading me through it, just a shout out to Kate, who owns the Massage Garage in Bexley. She's amazing. The woman leading me through it, Kate, she talked me through the entire thing. And she was like, what are you thinking right now? I was like, I'm thinking I want to get out of this ice bath. Like, I don't like this. And she's like, I know, but you have to let go. You have to let go. And it was a really like mind opening environment, but it was also an environment where I got to speak to some people that I may not have gotten that like one-on-one time with.
Mm-hmm.
And we had such a great time. So it certainly took a lot of courage. That and being in a business environment in your bathing suit, like,
yeah,
who wants to be there? Talk about courage. But anyway, It really built confidence that I can do hard things.
Mm-hmm.
It gave me an opportunity to challenge myself.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the courage room can show up in a lot of ways, in a lot of experiences. It might even just be a really hard conversation that you have to have with somebody that you love, that you don't love, a client maybe. I mean, it could show up in all these different ways, but it's that inner knowing that the other side will be better because that weight's going to be lifted off of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
The result might not be exactly what you want. The outcome might not be exactly what you want, but the reality is you did it.
And going through the process changes you.
Mm-hmm.
It helps you to grow and it helps you to do it better next time, do it different next time, get in a different room next time, speak for yourself next time, don't speak up next time, whatever needs to be done. You will learn through just pushing that boundary of what's comfortable.
And I also think when you're on the other side of that conversation, you can reflect back and say, what were the red flags leading up to this conversation? So next time, I mean, I've learned from stepping into a lot of courage rooms, like when that internal dinger of me starts to go off, like, okay, time to have the conversation now. Because the old me, and it's still something I fight with, I will drag on hard conversations and I'll ruminate on them because they're hard. And I'm such an empath and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. And I have a hard time sometimes just being like brutally honest. It's like not one of my best qualities that way. So, but I'm also getting better at being able to detect when something doesn't feel aligned much earlier in the process.
Yeah.
Versus letting it go nearly as far down the path.
What a strong life lesson. That reminds me, I don't know who coined the phrase courageous conversations. It might have been Brene Brown.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
But I read Brene's, I'm looking at it on the bookshelf right now, Dare to Lead is a good one for that.
Mm-hmm.
Just to throw that in there.
Yeah, no, I definitely could use some of that.
All right. So to sum it all up, we pave our path through life, through career, through personal struggles, through family by the rooms we choose to enter. And entering these rooms is a choice.
Correct.
And what we're saying is that make that choice. Enter that learning room, enter that collaboration room, enter that courage room. In the learning room, you'll expand your thinking. You'll, obviously learn. In the collaboration room, you'll expand your network. In the courage room, you'll really expand your life and what you're capable of.
And I truly believe that all three of them are just as important as the other. I think if you're doing one and not the other two, or two and not the other one, like I would challenge you. Mm-hmm. I would challenge you to go and do a personal audit. What learning rooms are you getting into? What collaboration rooms are you in? What groups are you joining? And are you leveraging those groups to their full potential? Because a lot of times we can be part of a lot of different groups, but not really be squeezing the juice out of it and getting the full like outcome of what the magic that could happen there.
Sure. And if you work in a corporate environment, you could feel like this is too much. You already go to an office and you already sit in rooms with all of these people every day. So I think our challenge to you would be find a small way to do it.
Yeah.
If it's within the bounds of your corporate life, that's okay. If it's a small add-on, that's okay. If it's getting out on Saturday morning and joining a sand volleyball team, which looks so fun, but I would be awful at it, that's also okay. Like small manageable chunks. We don't want this to be something where you over promise and can't keep up with it because biting off more than you can chew. Like do it in small ways.
Yeah. And then I would say for the courage room, if you have a hard conversation, if you have a hard decision, if you have something you're being an ice bath challenge, you're being invited to, and you've just been pushing away, pushing it down, I challenge you to take a step. Like take a step towards that courage. Just one step, because the next step will be easier. The next step will be easier. And I promise you, once you've had, I've had some of the hardest conversations I've had to have in my life in this last 12 months. And like, I'm still here.
You are.
I'm still here. I'm better for it.
Yeah.
So much better for it. So it's like, I don't necessarily want to say bring on the next hard one, but but I do.
You're better prepared for
I
it.
am better prepared for it because I know that after I have it, like life goes on.
Right.
Like I didn't die.
You didn't. You know what got me to the ice bath thing? They said there was going to be coffee and donuts. And I said, at the very least, I'll chat with some people and I'll have a coffee.
There
at
you
the
go.
very least.
There you go.
That's what just got me in my car. That's it. And I was like, I'm probably not going to do this. I'm just going to go for the coffee and the donuts. And then I got there and of course it changed. But
5 minutes later, you're like a pro.
I don't know that I would say that. But anyway, we think that these 3 rooms can change your path. And if you let them. And we're happy to have, had this conversation. If you have, any comments, feel free to leave them here below. If you have any groups you're part of that you love and you're looking for new people, leave that in the comments below. If you need a room, leave it in the comments below. We will, we have a lot of rooms that we love. We can put some of those in the show notes. And
we've built rooms, by the way.
We've built rooms.
We've built learning rooms. We have online education. If you want to learn more about this founder journey, like we have built those. We've built a collaboration room. We have an amazing private Facebook community called the Founder Circle. We'll do a whole episode about all the things that are happening in there, but it is a dynamic community of founders at all different stages that are leaning on one another and learning from one another. And we're there to help guide and fill missing gaps. So, those rooms, they are everywhere. They can be in very small ways too. So
it's amazing.
Keep your eyes open, find your rooms, and let us know. Let us know where you end up.
Sounds great. Well, that's enough for today. We'll see you next time on
The Sourcing Gals.